Hey, 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 we're back again. Segment 3 of the Coon Prairie Ramblers here on the little radio station on the prairie.
He got it right this time.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Well, I was thinking real strongly about it. I was
thinking about making you some cue cards. But
focused
looks like
on
you might be, we'll have a breakthrough here.
And we got Dangerous Dave setting in for the infamous, the godfather of Nocatee, KC.
KC, his own
The
self.
Godfather.
Yeah. So, we were going to talk, what was we going to talk about?
Arcadia.
Arcadia, yeah. Oh, I need a cue card now.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Arcadia. I mean, this is December 6th. Day that will live in infamy. No, December 6th, Arcadia's birthday that we're recording this. Arcadia was incorporated, I believe it was, on this day in 1886. So we are 130 years old, right?
Yeah.
130 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't feel it. I don't feel 130.
Oh, I do sometimes. Some mornings when I get up.
Sometimes on the Facebook, I look at some of the stuff that Luke puts up for the Historical Society.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they're showing full-fledged meals over at such and such diner, 20 cents. And I'm thinking, that had to have been 100 years ago because I haven't seen it.
Man, wouldn't that be nice?
That blows me away. I could eat like a king if those prices would come back.
Yeah.
It's
hey, we'd
unreal.
go to a fancy restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Spend $1, get some of them lobsters and escargots and stuff.
Oh, my goodness. Are you here?
And liver.
There
You
you
can
go.
have all that for free. Why anybody eats it is beyond me, and why they pay money to eat it, that's even worse.
I wonder how much.
You're not a liver fan.
Oh, don't tell me I'm outnumbered here.
No,
You eat liver?
I like it. I like it.
Oh, I'm a minority here.
We're carnivorous liver eaters.
You can have liver lovers.
Yeah.
You go get a basket of gizzards. You want to find 2 or 3 livers that fell in there by mistake.
Oh, I hope not. I would die. I'd barf up the rest of my gizzards if I accidentally bit one of them sapsuckers.
Hey, I went and we was talking about gizzards last week on Coon Prairie Ramblers, and I went. I pulled up a diagram. It's on the YouTube, and the gizzard was in the place where I didn't realize it was. It's the stomach comes first, and then the gizzard.
It's a second stomach.
Yeah,
And it grinds.
and the stomach is just a little tiny thing.
It grinds like a grinder, like we said, like a comminutor, like we were talking about last week. It just chews it up even more. It processes it so it can go out the other end.
Wow.
And people love to eat them.
Yeah.
Some of us.
Kind of weird.
Anyway, going back to Arcadia.
Yeah.
Arcadia began on the river out there west of town as a little settlement called Waldrons Landing because...
Can you pinpoint where that is?
Somewhere along the river. You think it'd be straight out on 70 where the bridge is, but that's not necessarily true. It's all up and down that area right there. And some of the earliest settlers there were the Waldrons. And the little settlement grew there because back in the day you didn't have roads. You might have a trail, and a lot of people travel by river. So it was a nice place on the river, and people just started congregating and set up probably a camp, which grew into a settlement.
Yeah. And many years later, what's that?
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story, and that's on the other side of the river, in that general area, right? Or further down?
Yes.
Okay.
On the other side.
Okay.
Anyway, but it started growing eastward as a community, as a town, or as a settlement, and it became Tater Hill Bluff because way back when the river wasn't as wide and it was deeper.
Yeah.
Back then, there were a lot of high bluffs, and there was some kind of plant growing out the side of the bluffs, which they said looked like tater sprouts. So they started calling it tater sprouts, and then it became Tater Hill Bluff after that. And then when it come time to incorporate the town, they wanted a name that sounded a little more professional than Tater Hill Bluff. So they went with Arcadia.
Well, Tater Hill Bluff.
And they started calling it Arcadia, but then it was incorporated, I think, in 1886.
Yeah.
Tater Hill Bluff is kind of quaint and cool, and unique, but they wanted something more professional, I think.
Yeah.
So they went with that.
Over in Mississippi, they got something Shoals.
In Alabama, Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals. That's a neat name.
I thought it was a Muscle Beach, but it's the other kind of mussel. It's the ones in the shells.
Yeah, Muscle Beach is where they got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I would be Buck.
Yeah.
They play beach blanket bingo.
Yeah. Oh, with a net.
You were talking about the river. I've talked to some old timers, and they told me that at one time the river was so deep that what they would do is they could take a barge and pull it by oxen and float goods from like Wauchula and places up the river down on that barge being pulled by oxen.
That's true.
I wonder what caused it to not be so deep. Well, what
erosion kept widening it, more and more use of the river, and just got wider and wider and more shallow.
Did they do the phosphate in that area, or was that a different?
That
area?
started down around the Liverpool area, which is down in below Fort Ogden.
Yeah,
and some of it came as far north as Arcadia. Most of it was
10 miles
south of here. Most of it was south of here. Back in the turn of the last century.
Yeah,
but then. The river, they even had steamboats on the river.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And stuff like that. So.
Which is extremely hard to believe. Because if you go up around Brownsville and get in the water, you're right there on top of the limestone shelf.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, probably good. The big boats didn't go all the way up. They were in the southern part.
Even some of the Civil War stories they tell of boats navigating up and down, cruising up and down the river there.
Yeah, it was called Pease Creek originally. Peas, Peas.
Yeah,
like the plant peas. Because they said these plants grew along there that looked like peas, so they call it Pease Creek. And there's another story where the white settlers would have truces with the Native Americans, so it became Peace Creek.
Yeah.
Like they made a peace pact.
Yeah.
Peace Creek, and eventually became Peace River. But if you go all the way to the northern end of Peace River, it starts up here in Bartow, comes out of a Lake Hancock.
Yeah.
It comes out there, and you can almost step across it. And it just keeps getting, it's a ditch. It becomes a canal, then it becomes a creek, and then it becomes a river. And if you follow all the way to the end, it's like 106, 108 miles. And that river that goes from the bridge goes from Punta Rassa to Port Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's the mouth of Peace River.
Yeah.
That's where it empties, and it's like a mile wide right there.
Yeah. That's big.
It keeps growing and growing. But Arcadia kept moving, or the settlement kept moving east, and then the area where Arcadia is, a lot of that, where what is downtown now, is owned by the Waldron family, and they donated a lot of that, or sold a lot of it, to be made into a city. And if you think about it, and a lot of people don't know this till you tell it to them. If you're downtown and you got your streets go east and west are named after trees in the downtown area directly, and north and south are named after counties. So if you go to that area right there on a map and look at it, and where that stops, where the trees stop and where the county stop, to me that's about where the town was. Because then later on they started adding on the town, they changed the names or added different names. So you got oak, you got pine, you got cypress, you got magnolia, you got maple, you got all these. Those are the east and west ones. And on north and south, you got 17 is actually Brevard.
Yeah.
And you got Volusia, you got DeSoto, and you got Monroe, and you got
Hilliard.
I got all those are all.
Yeah.
But that was the downtown area back in the day. It was named by the
Osceola.
The first doctor that was here, Dr. Edwin Green, named the streets. He was big in a lot of civic organizations and stuff, and he named the streets and the roads.
How long after incorporation did that take place?
That was probably just before the turn of the century. Probably within 10 years, I would say. And they were still dirt and clay roads. I mean, it was a clay road between Arcadia and Nocatee until 1916. That was still a dirt road. It wasn't even paved yet.
I know my grandmother told me when she was a girl, which would have been early 1900s, she said that she would come up from, they lived there in Charlotte Harbor, Port Charlotte. She would come up and they'd drive cattle from Fort Ogden down to where the boat would pick them up here in Boca Grande.
Right.
And it was a big trip for them. It was 2-3 weeks on a cattle drive.
Exactly. Or in Punta Rassa and other places like that. They'd ship them to Cuba and places like that. But there's some cool old downtown pictures I'll have to share for the YouTube version of we look like an old western town out of an old movie before it burned in 1905. But anyway, well, that's this segment. It looks like we done wrapped up already. We're going to come back in short with the F-bombs. You better get in your fallout shelter, because we'll be right back.